Hi guys, hope you're all keeping well. I bought that little petrol engine, Stirling kit. I think it was the MB12 or something like that. I've been looking for a boat to put it in for ages. I did I did a little video of it running, got ticking over on the bench, and I've been looking for a sort of scale-ish sort of project to put it in. And anyway, I found this on eBay, and it's absolutely lovely, old-fashioned sort of retro type boat. It's just the right size. It's 30 inches long, and everything on it seems like it's sort of been handmade. The steering is worked by two cables, and they actually went up to the steering wheel at the front of the boat, which is kind of, hang on, let's just turn this around a little bit. The front of the boat there, if you can see that steering wheel, there's two tubes that come up, and that cable was linked to the steering wheel. So when you turn the steering wheel, it actually turned the rudder. Now, I've got no idea how old this boat is. The guy I bought it off was a bit comical. He said he knew nothing about it, but the guy he bought it off was related to Captain Pugwash. Now, that sort of tells you that he's a bit of a comedian, obviously, and he don't know nothing about the boat. So obviously a house clearance or something like that. But I believe it's kind of a straight running boat. Back in the day, I remember in the 70s, they had competitions over my local park on the little lake over there, and it was called straight running. And they used to have two boys at the end of the lake, and they would have to set the boat off across the lake, and it would have to go in between these two boys, to score points. And there was all kinds of contraptions and boats there, all with lawnmower engines in, little motorbike engines, you name it, and some oddball looking things. But I was completely, over the moon when this turned up, because it's just what I wanted. It's got the patina, it's got everything on it. And like I say, all those little parts are handmade. So, I don't know how old it is. I don't know what sort of boat it is. It's kind of everything is handmade, even the prop shaft, the rudder, all the steering mechanism, every little bit of brass on it has been made, handmade. And it's all inlaid like mahogany, all sort of around here. It's even got, on the front of it here, it's got copper inlaid. It's kind of like a museum piece, like you'd see in a museum. It's just incredible. Now, this is the motor. It actually had an electric motor in it. I don't know if you can see that. This was what was in it. This part, see that? That's like solid cast, and it's actually the magnetic part of the motor. And it kind of all bolts together like this. I don't know, but, looking at that tells you the sort of age of what this little boat was. And on the roof of it, again, these are the brushes. Now, there's no actual sort of carbon on the brushes. They just used to lay, the brass used to run straight on there like that, and you can see the burn marks in there. And that's because I have had older motors with the same kind of thing. No carbon. Horrendous really, but. And the motor is kind of just made up of all these parts, and they all fit together. It's kind of, if you notice on the end of the brush holders, that actually sort of bolts all the engine together. I'm going to put it together again and just see if I can run it. There's loads of like, what do you call them, like plastic bushes or whatever they use, fibre, insulating bushes and stuff like that. And the Speedo, this was inside the roof of the boat, and it's like linked up. These look like the resistors here, and it's got a lever. If I take this roof off, if you look at the roof here, we've got this little lever, and I think this sort of governed the speed, because under here you can see that, and that was what actually run on to that. So this was in there kind of like that. So you had that in there, and that all went in, and that's what supplied. You had a battery behind it, which was on a tray. So we had this where the battery sat, obviously some sort of strap or elastic band or something around it. This was where the motor went into the boat. Now, I don't even know what this boat is made of, because looking at that, it looks like some sort of fiberglass, and the hull looks like fiberglass, but it is so thick. It's probably, I would say, it's like 10 mil thick, the hull in places. This, if I take out one of these, I don't know if you can see in there, you can see how thick that is. And I thought it was fiberglass. This looks like a layer of fiberglass and then like wood. But when I was fitting the petrol engine in, I sort of dremelled out the hull. Thought I was going to just have fiberglass, but it was just a little kind of coating, and then it went through to wood. So I've dremelled out the two flats for the engine mounting. I've got the engine in there like loosely at the moment. Let's have a look. Here we have, I mean, it looks like it was made to go in there, doesn't it? I mean, it's just a lovely little thing. A lovely boat and a lovely engine. But it is so, it is heavy. I can't believe how thick the hull is. I honestly don't know what it's made of, but say, when I was grinding out for the engine mountings, if you can see them just in there, it sort of went through to wood. So I ground like two flats and got the engine as low as I could. I've got it spot on in line with the prop shaft. So we've got the prop shaft in there, it's as free as you like. I've got the engine at the same angle as what the prop shaft is, so shouldn't be any power loss through there, although, you know, you can need every little bit of power you can with this. And I'll probably start it off with that pulley in the front. I might make a starter for it, but I want to see what it goes like first before I go to town on it. But I think I've got electric starter and a little belt, and I sort of wang that over. The big thing is going to be getting the ignition in it. I think I said to you before that a couple of guys have made these and they've had sort of problems with the ignition because the actual leads, it just went into a rubber cap, and it wasn't even touching the actual plug, it was just arcing across, so that would cause havoc with any kind of radio control. So that's, you know, I've asked them, Stirling Kit, what they're going to do about that, and they said, oh, he's just wrapped silver paper around it, you know. I said, come on, Mona, I said, let's not go back to the old days. Why can't you supply the engine with a proper suppressed cable, you know, like the coax cable? You don't want to be wrapping, you know, silver paper around all your electronics and all that in your boat, and you don't need to. There's plenty of suppressors. That's a common size spark plug. Just engines do caps and stuff for them. So I'm not going to run that ignition with that kind of that cable. I might put my own ignition in it. I've got a few for the aeroplanes. Or I might solder, you know, it all depends. If that ignition unit for Stirling engines, if it's got an earth in place for the coaxing cable, it'll be okay. But if it's just like one output to the spark plug and there's nowhere to earth the outside coaxial cable, then it's going to be no good. So, you know, I don't want to start wrapping, you know, silver foil around it or something like that. So I'm hoping Stirling engines are going to take on board this kind of, you know, these engines. I know they're desktop tyres and stuff like that, but there are a lot of modelers like me who put them in models and wants to run them. And, you know, this would be impossible to run with any kind of radio control as it is at the moment. And then when you ask them, they say, oh, we put like silver paper around it. But, you know, that's not really fixing it, is it? It's just sort of masking it. And, you know, I know this boat's only going to pot around the lake, but you don't want to lose control of it, because I think it's quite a valuable, it's like an antique. It's a beautiful thing. Now, I've managed to make the coupling today. I've used I've got loads and loads of Kyosho buggy bits from when I used to race. where are we, back in the day. And what I actually did, I bored out the flywheel. I don't know if you can see in there. Let's just, where are we? Right, so in there, that's the original flywheel here, stainless steel. I made a sleeve so it would take this coupling, so it was a nice push fit in there. Then I drilled through and I put a grub screw through from the outside of the flywheel right through into the middle of it, so it's locked on to the flywheel. That didn't take too long. The drive shaft is a cut down Kyosho one, and I silver soldered it in the middle. And the prop shaft is actually made out of brass, believe it or not. It's not steel, so not ideal, but you know, it's got like brass running in brass. Lucky enough, I managed to, it was a funny side, like 5.8. So I used a 6mm hand reamer and just went in slightly, a little bit at the end, because it's got a taper on them, and it actually fitted on lovely. And then you could drill through there. I've got a 3mm screw going through, so that's locked that on, and it runs lovely and true. There's no kind of friction or anything between that. I don't know if you can see there, but the fuel tank, hang on, let's just this fuel tank, it's kind of, because the boat's actually in a bit of an angle, there we go, because I've got this in a straight line. I mean, Dave on the Stirling kit site, he actually put his boat straight, but it's really best practice to pull it in line with the prop shaft, you know, because you get a lot of power loss through running the engine straight, and the dog bones or cable or whatever you use, coupling straight to tapered. So you've got the engine like that, and then it runs down to there, and you lose a lot of power. If you have it all at the same angle, you don't lose any power, and that's as free as you like. There's no friction there whatsoever. But what people have said to me, well, maybe the tank now is leaning down at a bit of an angle. But it's such a tiny tank, I might put my own tank in. I might make a nice brass one. You know, I don't know how long. I had it running forever on the bench, but that's only a tiny tank. So I might make another tank, or all I've got to do is make 2 longer straps, and I can just pull this up as straight. So it's not really a big problem. The oil is going that way. It's not going out the sides on the sump, so I think that'll be fine. The water should be okay. I can't see any problem in any of that. So the next job for me is probably to start getting the radio in. And I've been looking at this steering setup here. I don't know if you can see this cable. Let's just try and get this down. Right. Now, I've been messing about this afternoon. This like I said earlier in the video, this guy has made like a scale steering, and I believe he ran like chains in there. I can't think of it, but there was little odd bits of chain that are similar to the anchor chain, and I believe he was running them, so it's like a scale boat. So when you move the steering wheel, he could actually move the steering. Now, I kind of was thinking maybe I could go all the way up to the steering wheel and steer it that way, but the more simple way to do it would be like when you do a closed loop, like you do on a model aeroplane with a rudder. So I've got 2 cables in there today. I don't suppose I'll be able to find them now. Got another one in here somewhere. Where is it? Oh, it's gone right down the bottom. If I can find it. Oh no. You can see how well prepared I am. Okay, right. Now, look how well that works. It's so smooth. And there's like a little pulley there, on there, but this one's missing. So I'm going to make myself a new pulley, get them nice and loose, and run the cables around here. Then what I'll probably do is run it down to, run it down to a servo, probably in the back somewhere, kind of sort of down here somewhere, because the little block where the prop comes in, and I can mount the servo on there, and then it will be a direct pull, and I can make it adjustable with links, so you can pull on that really tight, and I can use that for the steering, because, you know, I believe this boat was kind of made with the lid off and then the top was put on afterwards, because you can't get to anything, you know. So even if I wanted to put a rudder, a simple push-pull rudder on that, it'd be very difficult for me to get into the back of the boat to sort that out. I don't know whether the stuff is soldered, but I mean, I've been looking at the prop. Let's just have a look down here. Now this prop, it doesn't look like it's screwed on, or what. It looks like it's actually soldered on, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's handmade. So I think I might have to unsolder that in the future, because I think I'm going to have to run a bigger prop with that engine. I can't really see this is big enough, so I might have to run a bit bigger prop, a 3-blader, you know. Well, I suppose I should try this one first, but I really want to be able to change the prop so I can have a little play in what size, like I always do. I suppose if I can unscrew some of this rudder linkage somehow, it might come out. I don't know how you're going to do that, but at the moment I'm just kind of interested in getting all the rudder on it, sort of the engine looking pretty nice, you know, and that's it. I mean, I've got to make new windows. The windows for the boat, hang on, let's come up a bit. Right, they were made out of, like, I don't know what it is, like a really thin sort of plastic, and I suppose over the years, the heat, or it might been in the sun or something, and it's actually sort of melted the windows. But it's not a problem. I'm just so pleased with the boat. It's a lovely looking thing, and it's kind of come from an era. Maybe it's the 50s, the 60s, I don't know, but I don't believe it's a kit. I think it's like a scratch-built model for someone who is a good modeller, you know, because all the parts, the little anchor's been filed out of brass, all the fittings are brass, and it's got a lovely patina on it. The brass looks like it's been kind of lacquered or varnished with something back in the day, and it's all a bit, you know, I could go mad and polish it all up, but I think it just looks right as it is. And if you can imagine it with that little pop engine in there, just popping around the lake, I think it's going to be, you know, really nice. And can anyone tell me why, you know, the lifebelt belts are green? Is there a reason for that? Normally they're red and white. Is there any particular reason for them to be green and white? I don't know. The mast, it's got a lovely little piece here. He's made this little clip so you can actually, it pops down, so you can have the mast down or up, and it just clips into a lovely little brass clip like that. Very satisfying the way he's made that. It looks like he's turned all these little fittings up. Even these look like they're handmade and been sort of dremeled out. It's so thick. It's a bit roly-poly when I put it in the fish pond, but it's just a cute looking boat. I'm just so pleased with it, you know. It's just, you know, I was looking at eBay on vintage boats, antique boats, and I couldn't find anything really, you know, and this just come up one night, and I thought that is absolutely perfect, but I never thought it would be as nice as it is, you know. It's like something you would have in a museum, you know, and I know nothing about it, who built it, or, you know, if anyone out there knows what it's based on, you know, what model it is or anything like that, please get back to me. Just drop me a line, and we'll, you know, I'll be interested in it. So I'm going to wrap this one up now, say bye. I've got a lot of other things on the go. I've been, I actually flew that little gyro the other day, and I don't know how it's still one piece, because it's a crazy thing to fly. Every time you put the throttle on, it went up, and then as you let off gently, it went and dropped like a stone. And you know, I don't know how I got it down in one piece. I've been in touch with Mario. I'm trying to find out if it's got the motor mount on it can go two ways. If you turn it around, you can have up thrust on it. You turn it around the other way, and you can have down thrust. Now, I've asked him a couple of times, but he hasn't got back to me with a straight answer. Also, maybe I can move the batteries forward because you can slide the whole thing back and forwards. But I've done a metallic blue vinyl wrap on it. Got to put a few sort of stripes and things on it, but it's kind of, because of that plastic they use, it's kind of aerated. You've got like, it's like almost like corrugated. So the vinyl wrap sealed up all the edges, and I don't think it's going to put any more weight on it, but I'll do another video on that because it's quite a quirky little thing, and I think if I can get it to fly properly, it'll be good, you know. I mean, I couldn't believe it flew, but it did fly. So anyway, guys, that's it for now. Where we are with the boat. The next bit will be getting the radar in it. Another couple of weeks I'll do a video, and hopefully I'll have the steering working and some type of ignition module in there. We'll go for there. So I'm going to wrap this one up, and I'll say bye, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See you later.